Hey everyone, today we are diving into a marriage story that could save yours from divorce. Ever wonder what small mistakes could end a happy marriage? I'm Laura, 38. And I thought my life with David was rock solid. We had a charming Boston brownstone, 2 kids, Mia and Noah, and 10 years of love. But last fall, I noticed cracks, silences at dinner, rushed goodbyes, a chill where warmth used to be. I brushed it off as stress. But one night, David looked at me and said, "I don't know if I can do this anymore." My heart stopped. Divorce us. I thought we were forever. Turns out, we were making tiny mistakes. Ones you might be making, too. That pushed us to the edge. This is my story of how we almost lost it all and what we learned to pull back. Stick with me to uncover the marriage mistakes that could change everything. The weeks after David's words were a fog. I'd watch him play with the kids, laughing, but with me. He was distant, like a roommate. I'd lie awake, replaying our years together, our first date at a snowy cafe, dancing at our wedding. Where did we go wrong? I blamed myself, thinking I wasn't enough wife, mom, partner. Friends said we just needed date nights, but it felt deeper. I found a therapist's card in David's wallet, and my stomach sank. Was he planning to leave? I confronted him, voice shaking, and he admitted he'd been unhappy for years. Not because of cheating or big fights, but small things, missed moments, unspoken needs that piled up. Our marriage was crumbling, and I hadn't even noticed. I was terrified of losing him, the kids' happy home, our life. But I wasn't ready to give up. I needed to understand our mistakes before they led us to divorce. The distance between David and me grew like a slow leak, and I hadn't even seen it. I was so caught up being mom packing lunches, driving Mia to soccer, helping Noah with homework, that I stopped being Laura, his wife. I'd brush off his attempts to talk, saying, "I'm tired," or "not now." He'd ask about my day, and I'd give one-word answers, too drained to connect. I thought he understood, but I was ignoring his emotional needs, and it was killing us. One night, he tried to hug me, and I pulled away, distracted by a work email. His face fell, but I didn't notice until later. When he stopped trying, that's when the silence started. A cold wall where our laughter used to be. I didn't realize how much David craved connection, not grand gestures, but small moments, like sharing a coffee or venting about work. He'd stopped telling me about his day. And I hadn't asked. In Boston, our brownstone felt like a stage where we played parents but not partners. I found a note he'd written, tucked in a drawer. "I miss you. Laura." My heart sank. I'd been neglecting him, not out of malice, but exhaustion. And it built a rift. He started staying late at work, and I wondered if he was pulling away for good. The kids noticed, Mia asking, "Is Daddy mad at you?" I faked a smile, but inside, I was panicking. My marriage was slipping, and I'd helped push it there by ignoring what David needed most: present and engaged. If I didn't change, divorce wasn't just a word, it was our future. Our poor communication turned every talk into a minefield. I'd always prided myself on being direct. But with David, I'd started bottling things up. If he forgot to take out the trash, I'd stew silently, thinking he didn't care. He'd snap about my late work hours, and I'd fire back with sarcasm instead of listening. Small issues, dishes, schedules blew up because we didn't know how to talk anymore. One night, I mentioned feeling overwhelmed, And David said, "You always play the victim." I froze, hurt, and walked away. Instead of explaining, I gave him the silent treatment, and he retreated to the couch. Our Boston brownstone, once full of chatter, echoed with unspoken grudges. The kids felt it. Noah asked why we were so mad, and I brushed it off. But the guilt stung. We weren't yelling, but our clipped words and cold stares were louder. I'd misinterpret David's tone, assuming he was attacking, when he was just stressed. He'd shut down if I raised my voice, leaving issues unresolved. We were talking past each other, not to each other. I found an old email from him, sent years ago, full of warmth. "Love you always, Laura." Now, our texts were logistics pickup times, grocery lists. I realized we'd stopped sharing feelings, assuming the other should just know. That assumption was poison, turning small fights into chasms. Divorce loomed because we couldn't bridge the gap. I wanted to fix it. But every time I opened my mouth, the wrong words came out. And I feared we were too far gone. Neglect crept into our marriage like a slow fog, turning love into resentment. I'd stopped doing the little things that made David feel valued, leaving notes in his lunch, planning date nights, even just holding his hand. He'd stopped. No more surprise coffees. No more asking about my dreams. We were so focused on the kids and work that we let our bond erode. I'd rush through dinners, distracted by Mia's homework or emails, while David scrolled his phone. We weren't fighting, but we weren't connecting either. In our Boston home, we were roommates, not lovers. And it hurt more than I'd admit. One evening, I found an old photo of us laughing at a beach, and it hit me we'd neglected the spark that made us us. The resentment grew quietly. I'd bristle when David forgot our anniversary, thinking he didn't care. But I hadn't reminded him either. He'd get curt when I left dishes in the sink, assuming I was careless, not exhausted. We stopped giving each other the benefit of the doubt. Mia's question, "Why don't you hug Daddy anymore?" cut deep, exposing how our neglect affected the kids. I felt David pulling away, spending weekends at the office, and I let him, too tired to fight for us. The love we'd built over a decade was suffocating under overlooked moments and unvoiced needs. I'd see couples holding hands and feel a pang, wondering if we could ever get that back. Divorce wasn't here yet, but it was knocking, and our neglect was rolling out the welcome mat. Our marriage hit rock bottom, teetering on the edge of divorce. David's words from months ago, "I don't know if I can do this," echoed every day. No longer a threat, but a reality. We barely spoke, just coexisted in our Boston brownstone, orbiting around Mia and Noah. One night, I overheard David on the phone, talking to a friend about starting over. My stomach dropped. I imagined divorce papers, split custody, the kids shuttling between homes. I confronted him, tears streaming, and he didn't deny it. "Laura, we're broken," he said, his voice flat. I wanted to scream, to beg, but I just nodded, numb. We were strangers, and I hated how we'd let it get this far. The kids sensed the end. Mia clung to me, asking if we'd move away, while Noah got quiet, retreating to his room. I felt like I'd failed them, failed us. At work, I'd stare at my desk, replaying every missed chance to fix things, every ignored hug, every sharp word. David started sleeping on the couch, his toothbrush in the guest bathroom, like he was already half gone. I found a lawyer's card in my purse, one I'd grabbed just in case, and it felt like a betrayal to even hold it. We'd built a life school plays, summer barbecues, and now it was crumbling because of mistakes we didn't see. I wasn't ready to sign papers, but I didn't know how to pull us back. The brink of divorce wasn't loud. It was this quiet, suffocating despair. And I was terrified we couldn't escape it. Therapy was our last hope, a chance to face the flaws we'd ignored. David and I started seeing Dr. Carter, a no-nonsense therapist who didn't let us hide. In our first session, I admitted I'd stopped listening to David, assuming he was fine. He confessed he'd bottled up his frustrations, thinking I didn't care. Dr. Carter called it out. Our marriage was dying from neglect and miscommunication. She had us list what we needed, small things, like a daily check-in or a kind word. I was shocked at how simple it sounded, but how far we'd strayed. David's list included feeling seen, and I realized I'd been blind to his pain. Each session dug deeper. We revisited old fights, like when I'd dismissed David's stress as just work, or when he'd ignored my need for a break. Dr. Carter taught us to pause, to hear the hurt behind the words. I saw my role in our rift, my sarcasm, my distractions, and it stung. David owned his silence, how he'd shut me out instead of speaking up. The kids came up too. We'd hurt them by modeling a broken marriage. Therapy wasn't a magic fix. Some days, we left angrier. But it showed us our mistakes weren't fatal, they were fixable. We started small, sharing one honest thought a day. In our Boston home, those talks, halting at first, began to chip away at the wall between us. Divorce was still a shadow, but therapy gave us a map to fight it. If we were brave enough to follow, active listening became our lifeline, pulling us back from the edge. Carter taught us to stop, look each other in the eye, and really hear, not just wait for our turn to talk. One night, in our Boston brownstone, I tried it. David was stressed about work, and instead of my usual, "You'll be fine," I asked, "What's weighing on you?" He opened up about a project deadline, his voice raw, and I listened. No interruptions. For the first time in months, he softened, squeezing my hand. I shared my fear of losing us, and he didn't dismiss it, just nodded, taking it in. Those moments felt like oxygen after years of holding our breath. We made it a habit. Every evening, we'd sit with coffee, kids asleep, and talk, really talk. I learned David felt invisible when I was glued to my phone. He learned I needed his help with chores to feel supported. We weren't perfect. Some nights, old habits crept in, and I'd snap or he'd clam up. But we kept trying. Mia noticed, saying, "You're not mad anymore." Noah started joining us for game nights, his laughter filling the house. Active listening wasn't just words, it was seeing each other again. The threat of divorce faded, not gone, but quieter. Our marriage wasn't fixed, but it was healing. One honest conversation at a time. We were learning to choose each other, and that choice was saving our bond. Our marriage isn't perfect, but it's stronger because we faced our mistakes. Those silences at dinner, the chill in our Boston home, they were warnings we ignored. Now, I see how neglecting David's needs, poor communication, and small oversights nearly led to divorce. Therapy and active listening pulled us back, teaching us to prioritize each other. Here's what I tell you. First, Check in daily. Ask your partner how they feel. And listen without fixing. Second, notice the little things, leave a note. Hold their hand. Third, don't bottle up frustrations. Say it kindly before it festers. These tips sound simple, but they're the glue that holds love together. Mia and Noah's laughter fills our house again. Proof we're on the right path. That night, David said, "I don't know if I can do this," was my wake-up call. Now, when I see that old snowy cafe photo from our first date, I don't ache, I smile, knowing we're fighting for us. Your marriage might have cracks, but they're not fatal. What's your biggest marriage mistake? Share below, and let's learn together. If this story hit home, like and subscribe for more tips to avoid divorce and build a healthy marriage.